was the 90s. Hello, and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, the only podcast where we reflect on how we treat the women in our lives. I'm Bankole Mokwede, and today we're discussing the excellent 6th episode of Industry's ridiculously impressive 3rd season. And guys, joining me to discuss this episode, we've all been brought together by desire and the force of negative cohesion. It's Ayo and Ebube. How are you guys doing? Welcome back. Nice partnership for the first time.
This is a first. Ebube and I were brought together by...
I just felt like being involved. So that's like for the 5 people that know what we're talking about.
And also music.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it is nice to be here. It's been a while since I just tagged along on something. I'm actually very excited to just chime in without having to.
And not have to lead it.
I mean, we're on a run of like really good guests, so Ebube.
It's okay.
Just saying.
I know how.
No pressure.
I know how to guess. No pressure.
You have a high bar to reach. Okay. It's your first time on the podcast, guys. Thank you. Please check out our feed because we have the Incredibles. You just alluded to it. We have an incredible episode with Mickey and Conrad on the feed, also on YouTube. So check that out. That came out last week. If you've been here all season, what'd you say?
I said, who are Mickey and Conrad? You can't just say Mickey and Conrad.
Okay,
that's fair.
I mean, I
you're
guess
right.
If people are new here, that's fair.
Friend. But you have to tell people who they are.
Mickey and Conrad, Mickey Down and Conrad K are the writers, creators, eventual directors, producers of Industry. You're right. I guess if not everybody that watches Industry will know who would know those names. So okay, that's why you're here. You keep me honest. If you've been here all season, thanks a lot. Please, for all our new listeners from the Industry run, please make sure just to rate and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like, subscribe on YouTube, all of that stuff. I really can't explain. You might think we're over-exaggerating, but I really can't explain how much that really helps us. Also, quickly, speaking of helping us, if you look in the description wherever you're listening, there's a little link where you can help support us. You can just donate as little as £5. Every little bit helps. Just with all the bullshit that we need to pay to keep this going on. Hey, what's the surprise?
This nigga said as little as £5.
Well,
she's like shoot for the stars, man.
I think that's the lowest amount on the platform. It's not. I'm not saying £5 is nothing.
Do you know how much a meal deal is? Crazy. This guy's crazy. That's 2 lunches, bro.
You're right. I feel like no, because of the new crisis, I think meal deal has gone to like £4, hasn't it?
No, it's $3.60 if you have a club card.
Yeah,
nigga, I'm still in the streets.
How many people really have club cards?
I'm still in the streets. I'm still out here.
You know the price of milk.
I know the price of bread.
How people really have club cards? Like, really, just a club card is a scam. Not many people have club
everybody
cards.
Has a club card now because all the prices have gone up.
Fair enough.
All the prices have gone up. You need a card in every store.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I have a Nectar card, Tesco club card. I have the M&S one.
Content-wise, Ebube, you're still pumping out Trading Desk.
I am in fact doing that.
Trading Desk every Friday with Ebube. That's our weekly industry preview podcast. So you can check that out. And also our first episode on Slow Horses, season 4, episodes 1 and 2 came out last week. Next week, podcast on episodes 3 and 4 will be on the feed. Okay, Industry. This is episode 6, titled Nikki Beach, or So Many Ways to Lose. As you may know, if you've listened from the beginning of this run, Aya and I have kind of like singled out this episode because we assumed we would know more about the whole boat situation on this episode, and we're not disappointed. It's written by Joseph Charlton. I think it's the episode that Mickey and Conrad did not write. Joseph Charlton wrote episode 6 of season 2, so he writes bangers. And directed by Isabella Eckloff.
Who just directs bangers every single time.
Well, I mean, she's just, like we said, she's gang. 6 is the one where they do the Jesse trade that fucks up Rishi.
Where they cheats Rishi. We're going to cheat him, she says, which is hilarious. She's pure evil, but I'll save that for the Trading Desk.
For you guys listening, or watching this, you already know the length of this podcast, but I want you to know that we do know it's going to be a long episode. So buckle up. We're going to say a lot. You guys watch the episode. Quickly, before we start, I'll talk about music, which is interesting because I have both of you on this podcast. Guys, the drums are back. Nathan McKay brought back the drums. So I just want to say, so my thinking about the soundtrack or the scoring for this show is that, how do I put it? It doesn't, for most shows, the score kind of like accentuates what you're already feeling. And it kind of is meant to like help the audience with what they're already feeling. But I feel like this show, a lot of the times, directs the audience as to what they should feel, which on paper shouldn't work. But I think maybe because like lots of the jargon is so unintelligible to most of the listeners that you don't know what should I be feeling that as this has just been said. So when the music goes like, oh, this is what I should be feeling. And it's like, I should realize like a lot of the time music directs the audience, which is very interesting and like a very difficult thing to do and make work. So that was just like, I was like, oh yeah. And obviously this episode, the music, the drums, everything just came back and I was like, oh, this is really good. It bangs. Yeah. I didn't know he was a DJ. I knew he was a DJ first. Like, I knew he DJ'd on the side, but I didn't know he was a DJ first before he went into film scoring, which kind of makes sense.
Everybody cuts their teeth somehow, yeah.
Yeah, my idea for the music has always been like, the music on this show is music I would never listen to, but it's music I would enjoy. Like, it's never going to be on my own playlist because I don't listen to this kind of music.
But if it comes on, you're not mad at it.
Yes, it's very much like what I would enjoy. I just would never seek it out by myself. But
interesting.
Fair point.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair point.
Anything about music before we go on? I just wanted to drop that.
Nice slaps.
It's exactly. Like that's just a summary. I think it's just the whole thing of, I guess, leitmotifs for anybody who knows what that is. Like, to kind of put it simply, Ramin Djawadi, the guy who does, Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Westworld, a bunch of other cool stuff. And even Nicholas Britell, who does Succession, they write theme songs, like mini tunes / theme songs for characters, for concepts and stuff like that, right? There's a Lannister theme, there's a Targaryen theme, stuff like that. But Nathan McKay it's almost as if he writes theme songs for specific emotions, and he writes a bunch of them, but they're all kind of connected. So you're just suddenly hearing something in the background. You don't even realize you're hearing it until you start feeling what you're feeling, which basically tracks with exactly what you were saying. I mean, it's weird, and it's actually very difficult to do that because it's music that's designed to be felt rather than heard, and it takes a lot of discipline to make that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's start with the boat, which is how the episode starts. We see Charles and Yasmin immediately after the last time we saw them. Charles tries to go talk to Yasmin, and then she drops the first banger line of the episode. I have no memory of ever loving you.
Purr.
And if I was Charles, I would have jumped into the river at that point.
Fucking iron. Like, iron straight to the bone. That's terrible.
Yeah. My one is, they just have to show us his dick again, though?
Yeah, well, you're not watching on BBC. If you're watching BBC, it will not be there at all, apparently, because BBC were like, nah, we're not doing that. Cut that out. That's so funny. BBC were like, no way. I can't wait for it to come out on BBC. I really want to see what that scene is like on BBC.
What they do. Fair.
Yeah, they just don't cut to anything. Okay. Yeah, and then they relocate to the not ominous at all empty deck of the yacht, upper deck of the yacht. And then Yasmin seems to forgive Charles, or at least she can be asked to fight. But then when they hug, she feels that he's still hard, and she unleashes on him. I wrote down some of the quotes here, which is something I did a lot this episode.
Saying he's still hard and she unleashes on him is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I wrote it down, I felt very proud of myself. I was like, I like the way that you've constructed that sentence.
Oh God. Okay.
So Yasmin says to her, or rather shouts at him, do you have any idea how badly you have failed as my father? That's when he shouts it was the 90s.
It was the 90s.
No, and then your comedy.
And then he replies, and you look at you prancing around in your little bikinis with everyone's eyes looking at you like a fucking whore. This is his daughter he's talking to, by the way. He continues, because that's all you have, Yasmin. That's all you are. And I may be old and lonely and fucking finished, but you are young and you have the you have to live the rest of your life with a single inviolable fact that you are spectacularly talentless. And she shouts back,
I speak 7 fucking languages. And then this man goes, he just goes, what? And starts laughing. Like, honestly, the whole scene, when you think about it, is just comedy. Like, the first time it was heartbreaking. Then something told me, let me just go watch it again. And just that whole series of line deliveries is insane, because it's like, yo, this is literally a sitcom I'm watching right now on the top of this boat. What's going on?
You know, I don't think I've ever said this before, but
like, he's like, that's your defense?
Right. He's right. What does she mean?
Yeah, no.
Because it's sad, because it is impressive that she does that, but then she latches onto that as like her actual talent.
And I talked about this at
we
some
did.
point.
We did.
Yeah, where like
season 2
someone
finale,
like Yasmin
which I wanted to bring it up.
Expecting to be lauded for that
to
kind
us,
of thing.
it's impressive. But to people in their world, it's not.
Exactly.
It's like, that's your bare minimum.
She wants people to kind of, just enjoy that fact. And I think in the back of her mind, she's like, why doesn't anyone care that I speak 7 languages? Oh my goodness.
You're right. We discussed this in the finale when Celeste is like, there are like 5 other girls like you.
Just like you.
You are not special. And we thought she was special because Yasmin speaks 7 languages. That's incredible. But Celeste is like, I can find another one of you. All you had was your connection to your father. I'm sure she did. Yeah. So the way he laughs at that is so funny. It's just anyway. But the Charles.
Did you laugh
and Yasmin,
when she said that?
No, but I laughed when he laughed. Because again, to me,
it was
impressive.
When he laughed that it really just hinged for me that this is actual comedy, because it's like it's so layered the way he's performing it, because that laugh can also be seen as, are you kidding me? This is what you're out here telling people in the streets, like you're doubly disgracing me while I'm disgracing you.
This is your talent. This is your talent.
Oh my god, man! Wow, nah.
This is your talent. Oh my god. Anyway, Charles jumps into the ocean, and then Yasmin does nothing. She tells Harper, and then Harper goes into Prestige TV fixer mode, and basically kind of covers it up. So let's talk about that entire what happens. What do you want to see on the boat?
It was interesting.
It
was interesting watching, like, starting the episode, and it starts on the boat, and I'm like, this is where he dies. Like, I was like, I'm sure he's going to die, but it was interesting watching like TV, knowing that a character is going. I don't know. I don't think I've actually been in a position before. I was just like, I wonder how they're going to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you mean.
That was fun. But also, because I think it's an incredible way to murder someone.
Yeah, it's a good flashback technique, to be honest.
Yeah. You're right, because we're like, okay, you keep waiting for him to die.
Yeah.
I think everyone, if you've watched that scene only once, go watch it a second time, because it's a different experience watching a second time when you already know how he's going to do it. Like, you're no longer like looking for, what happens?
What happens?
Him that he trains. Like, you're just, now you're watching the scene, knowing you're right, knowing what's going to unfold. And I do like the fact, like I think we discussed it last week, I do like the fact that she didn't actively do something to kill him.
Yeah, because
it wasn't like she pushed him and whatever. Like, it was more of her passivity, which is very interesting considering who Yasmin is as a person.
And I think it has that guilt, right? Because she's saying that she's saying out loud, "I killed him." Right? She's essentially saying it to Harper. She said it to Rob in episode 5.
Robert.
So it's like she believes that she killed him, whereas she didn't really. This man jumped of his own free will, and she kind of just didn't do anything about it, because you could say she was in shock. Like, it's interesting because we don't know exactly why she's frozen. It's like, I mean, very, very good performance from Marissa Abella, of course, because it's like you're watching her face and she's like, okay, I need to save him, but I'm frozen. Then it's like, okay, no, I shouldn't save him because I hate him. But then she realizes, actually, wait, if I don't save him, he'll die. And then her face is doing all these things, and then she starts moving and it's too late. And then literally she loses sight of him, because of course she does. Like, it's scary how that kind of stuff happens, because like the ocean is unforgiving.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely making a decision, though. I mean, you're right that she chooses not to do it. At first, it's like she's in shock and everything, but I think eventually you realize, okay, Harper literally asked, do you want us to go back?
And she's like, nah. I think she knows that there's no point in going back. That just draws attention to me.
I don't think there's no point. I think it's like, I don't want him I don't want to save him at this point. Like, because he could have still been alive. It's just an hour. Like,
have you tried paddling?
Have you
in water for an hour?
Was moving.
To be fair, I guess it's an hour both ways, so that'll be an hour back. He would most likely have been dead at that point. But I'm trying to say, like, I don't think she's like, oh, he's most likely dead. I think she's like, actually, I don't even want to check.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I thought it was more, I don't want to draw attention to the fact that I could have.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably a bit of both,
in this guy's hair.
Yeah. I have an unanswerable question for this scene for both of you. We can't answer it, but
I'll
maybe the show will answer it. Okay. Maybe the show will answer it eventually. But I think it can color how we interpret this scene. Do you think at this point by the boat, Yasmin had already got Harper the job with Anna?
Yes.
Because you're still thinking. Because there are two ways, right? It could be, if we're going very cynical, it could be she hadn't got her the job. She's like, oh, you kind of saved my ass there. Let me see what I can do for you. Or Harper could have been like, you know what, this girl just got me a job. That's the only reason I'm going to do like this for her. This is the most cynical reads of the situation.
Okay, so I think it's a yes, she already had the job, but it's not necessarily all that cynical. At the end of season 1, they're bitter enemies. At the end of season 2, they're starting to rekindle a friendship. I think it's plausible, right, that they're just trying to be there for each other. And at that point, Yasmin has gotten her the job and everything.
It was a human thing to do.
Yeah, it was a human thing to do. Like, this is when Harper was still, even though I know you'd mean that sarcastically, but like, I don't know.
I have a lot to say about that phrase, the human thing to do. Don't worry when we get there.
Yeah. But still, like, I feel like at the very least, at that point, it's not overly cynical and it's not too transactional. But it makes me wonder, right? Why is the subheading of this episode, or so many ways to lose? There's a bunch of reasons it could be that, I think. And I think that the fact that Harper and Yasmin come together at the beginning of the episode and it results in Yasmin's safety, and then they do it so again at the end of the episode and it results in tumult for both of them. Like, we go from hugs to slaps in 60 minutes, right? So one contrast between the two of them is that, like, at least the contrast is interesting, is that Harper is so good at damage control, partly because, she's had to claw her way through the world, right? And Yasmin can't do damage control to save her life or her job, apparently. So
I agree with you.
She's been so insecure about her job this season, not just because she wants to, like, make sure she appears valuable to, like, Eric and the team and everything, but she wants to be seen as more than somebody who needs protection, but she consistently needs protection. And I don't know, like, there's so many things that are lost in this episode, like relationships, all these things. So I wonder, like, are they literally just saying this episode is so many ways to lose, like a master class in, like, losing everything?
Well, yeah, I mean, the very, very on the face of it thing is that's a reference to, I think Eric even mentions it in the episode. It's a reference to, like, a book about the New York Mets, and that's just how they kept on losing. And I think in this case, you're right. It could be because the title is not so many ways to lose. The title is Nikki Beach, or so many ways to lose. Yeah. Which I guess Nikki Beach to them is a touchstone in their relationship. It's a touchstone of, I guess, when you're right, when they were the most
together,
the most harmonious. Yes, and it's like, just like so many more ways for us to just disintegrate this relationship. So yeah, I agree with you that. Yeah, I love the title. I love what it means. I'm going to talk about Sweet Pea now, Ayo's favorite. But before that, I just want to mention Yaz and Mock. Mock is not in this episode, but I'm only mentioning it because her conversation with Alexander, I'm assuming, will explain why Yasmin will return to Henry's orbits. Because Alexander Norton, sir, only has daughters and granddaughters. So of course he can't leave his entire empire to a woman. Like, obviously, like,
I remember, I literally heard that and was like, Christ, I'm literally back in Westeros. This is amazing.
I died
because, like, I never left. Like, this is 2024. Actually, is it 2024? This show's timeline is interesting, but, like,
I think it's there about. I think it's there.
I think we might now finally have reached the present day. But anyway, yeah,
he was like by some share of unfortunate luck, they also have only daughters, so I have to leave it to my nephew. I was like, Fair. Okay. I understand
And
your
I
logic,
heard that
as
and
in
immediately thought
France
about what
around
Robert
Scotland.
said, right? Yeah, because like Robert is like, if you lose your job, Henry will take care of you. It's like, oh, but you can't. Okay, you're destined to marry your father. Well, I killed him. And now it's like, now she probably has to marry Muck because now she's hearing that he's going to get more inheritance and she's lost her own inheritance. So this is literally the only way she survives now. Like Muck is now the key to her survival, probably. So she better play nice with Alexander Norton.
Yeah.
Sir Alexander Norton. Please.
Well, not only Muck, the fact that... Yeah, go ahead.
That combo was so good because, first of all, why is she at a bus stop?
That's so true.
She's just at a bus stop.
I had the same thought. I was like, it's so funny watching Yasmin wait for a bus. It's so funny. Yasmin should not be waiting for a bus.
God. Like how? Like literally, she's not even fired by that point.
The show is like writing, because I think that whole scene was really just about power, right? Like it was to make Yasmin, or to make us aware how powerless she is right now. Because Norton came on the phone and he tried to use blackmail to get her to go back to Henry. He was like, oh, yeah, I could spike this story. I shouldn't. I could. And then he was like, by the way, then you're going to be so rich because I'm surrounded by women. They can't handle money.
Because me.
Wait, wasn't it the other way around? Or am I wrong? Did he start with the...
No, I think that's what he said. He started with, I'm sorry for your loss. Our crime editor doesn't want to. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
like,
right,
I can't spike it, because then he mentions Henry, right? And then she's like, what am I supposed to do? And then he's like, I can't spike the story, or at least I shouldn't. Which is literally like, go get back with Henry, or I will ruin your life again.
Because he's about to kill himself. So like, please.
He's about to kill himself, right?
Yeah, he's about to kill himself. Please get back with him.
Like, then the guy dies, so do you. Simple.
And I'm like, okay, pressure.
It's so Logan Roy coded about even when the person is doing something good, it comes off so disgusting. Like, this guy trying to save this guy from dying, but at the same time it's entirely loathsome.
And I love it because, like, first of all, this actor is amazing, but also this is kind of thing I would have expected from Mostyn. So it's like, of course I can expect it from this guy too.
They're all the same. Exactly.
They're all the same.
They're all the same person. It was just, and then I mean, you're right, because me too, when I saw him waiting the bus, I was like, this is hilarious. Like, this woman waiting for a bus is the funniest thing. It's just so funny. Let's talk about Sweet Pea. Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk about whatever you want about Sweet Pea in this episode. Will be quick because unfortunately there are more important things in this episode. But before all of that, in line with Sweet Pea, can you explain the finance of this episode? What is going on? What is Harper and Petra's plan?
Okay, so the banks, especially Pierpoint, have been trying to take a lot of ESG, like private ESG companies, green, quote unquote, companies to market. Like, that is their big bet, or that was their big bet for the future, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's intimated by some characters that we'll get to later that it was mostly Wilhelmina's idea. I think that's what they're saying. But anyways,
really? Okay.
Pierpoint and some other banks have been buying up a lot of, trying to get private companies into their pipeline and then take them to market and IPO that way, and then make a lot of money from IPOing. The way they've been able to buy into these private companies is by taking on a load of debt. So they've borrowed a lot of money, I guess, from other banks. And the plan was within 5 years, or, before the debt matures, they would have been able to take a number of these companies to market, made huge money in the IPO, sell their shares, and then be able to pay back the debt.
Pay off the debt, yeah.
Yes. Which is a fine strategy if you're doing it for a few companies. But it seems like what's happening at Pierpoint was they went all in on this, and they borrowed so much money.
It's a terrible strategy if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, they put all their eggs in that basket, in one sector. And it's really destabilized the bank and their balance sheet, which means that right now, if those companies if they can't sell their shares in those companies, they won't be able to pay their debt, essentially.
Yeah.
And
which essentially
Lumi's
makes them
IPO has gone badly. Looney's IPO went
Lehman
really
Brothers,
badly, so they didn't make a lot of money on that. And then we hear that not Gazprom, shit.
Europa Gas.
Same company. Europa Gas.
It is.
Europa Gas also went quite badly. So what?
No, I think Europa Gas pulled out.
They pulled out because after that whole thing
out
at the panel, that the CFO was like, "Yeah, I'm not getting in bed with these guys."
Yeah, so they didn't make any money of that. So, but like they've still bought those shares, so they still owe that money, right, to the banks. So Harper hears basically this from
last week.
Yeah, she hears this last week, and then she goes to my second favorite new character, James Ashford, to double check if this is true. And he basically confirms that yes, a lot of banks are trying to sell their shares in these like private ESG companies, and they're worth nothing at this point. So she's like, okay, like it's true. Like she knows it's probably true, but she's just doing due diligence. At the end of the episode, or at the end of the day, what the trade they decide to do is they decide to take a $500 million short position on Pierpoint because they're betting that Pierpoint's stock, which coincidentally had just rallied in that day, so it's gone really high. They're betting that the stock value is going to crash once it becomes clear that they can't pay back their debts.
Yeah.
So they're betting. They bet
Crash
half
might
their
even be an understatement.
Yeah, and then that is when they assemble the anti-Pierpoint Avengers, the returning Kenny, Daria, and Jackie.
Oh my god, man!
Harper said, "I'm going to assemble a room so toxic that it shakes the foundation of the whole market."
And the crazy thing is that this room will take her down in an instant. Like while watching this episode, I remember stopping and thinking, wow, I'm 34 minutes in and too much has happened. This episode is crazy. And then I literally said out loud, I wonder if we'll still see Kenny this season. Knowing in my head, we're probably going to see him in the next few minutes. And then literally he's in the next scene. I'm just like, wow, everybody who leaves Pierpoint ends up disgruntled at this exact bank. Like, what was Jackie doing there for crying out loud? We missed Jackie. She's just there. Now I wonder why she left and how she left.
Walked across the street to Goldman. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, but the only person there that really doesn't like Harper is Daria.
It's Daria, yeah.
That's
Jackie
true.
and Kenny have nothing against Harper.
Yes, but I don't know. I just have this feeling that Yasmin could also end up in their ranks because she's also anti-Pierpoint, and then they'll just
Impossible.
She's
unfortunately Jackie and Kenny are hiring. Yes, there's no way they're hiring Yasmin. Impossible.
That's
Jackie
fair,
and Kenny.
Jackie and Kenny know too much about how bad Yasmin is at her job, so you're right.
Her job, yeah, she's not. Sorry.
And the way, well, we're gonna get to Yasmin, but the way this episode showed how bad she's at that job, apart from Petra just outrightly saying it was incredible. But yeah, so she's got Goldman. Goldman's gonna do the shorts, and then they're gonna go to the other banks to get CDS, basically protection against the shorts before I guess the short is factored into the CDS, so they make money. I think they said if it gets to zero, they make 500 million.
Yeah, and they basically double their money.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of the long story short, I guess, of the plan, the financial plan. Anything you want to add?
James Ashford was wearing a Bear Stearns shirt. I love that.
I saw that.
Also, he said that they met
the vest he was wearing while running too.
What was the vest?
There's just this vest he was wearing that was just like open. It's like, how is this helping you run? You should take that off, but whatever. Well, I don't know. And he was making googly eyes at Harper.
Oh, definitely.
He wants to fuck. I was trying to say, like, wow.
I've been saying it's like
fair enough.
Your vest point is only because you've not lived in London.
Yeah,
in which he could have left the house and it was cold and he like that. The vest makes
sense. You forget where I live now.
No, it gets where you live now is cold. London has 5 weathers in an hour.
London is cold and wet somehow,
and could also be sunny in 5 minutes time. So like,
and sunny,
you don't really know how to dress for the next hour. But yeah, he definitely was trying to.
I'll give him that.
Harper. Okay, Sweet Pea, just quickly. Sweet Pea goes for a meeting. What she thinks is an interview with Harper, and basically Harper is just like, "Can you give me the inside information?"
Harper, that was diabolical from Harper.
No, the whole time
an interview, that is diabolical.
it was crazy because I mean, I know I said that Harper might be pure evil, right? But like, good God Almighty, she's brazen. Because where does she get off calling this interview? Like, how? What is she expecting? And my favorite thing about it,
fair,
right?
I think she thinks Sweet Pea is stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm like. Right from the beginning of the season, they've been taking time to make it very clear to us that Sweet Pea is not to be underestimated, right? Because she's actually competent, and we see that in a big way in this episode when she stands on business. By the way, a way that Yasmin is just incapable of, because she literally, as she's leaving, says, "Do you want a fucking list?" And Yasmin hand delivers them a fucking list.
A list, man.
My goodness, like the contrast is crazy. Like, Sweet Pea is who Yasmin thinks she is. Like, it's insane.
Everybody is who Yasmin thinks she is. Venetia is who Yasmin thinks she is.
Oh my God, Venetia.
That's been the whole point.
I wonder if Goldman are going to hire Venetia.
Venetia is ending up a Goldman.
But I could see Venetia just tapping out of the industry.
Yeah, but what will she do?
Yeah,
like she's not going to go into venture.
She goes consulting.
It depends. Yeah.
She'll go and find Gus wherever he is.
Yeah. So
Sweet Pea so clever. Long live Sweet Pea golightly, man. I hope this is not the last.
Love her.
I feel like she's kind of a person that I at least just you feel like she'll be back in season 4, isn't it? Like just
amen.
She is
with the way the audience
and maybe she'll be dating Anraj.
No, keep Sweet Pea and Anraj platonic.
Yeah, keep them platonic.
I know they're going to be fan cams or whatever. Keep Sweet Pea and Anraj platonic.
I'm okay with them being platonic. I'm just saying I don't know if Anraj is. So
Anraj definitely.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think Anraj is okay with them.
Let's not become a podcast that tries to pair people.
Exactly.
Let the characters love who they love.
I know. I'm just saying, right? Because there was friction between Venetia and Robert, and then all of a sudden, I come here to season 3, and they're in a relationship. I'm like, why?
Which is definitely done now, by the way.
Yeah. The whole time Robert was in at home, I was like, where is Venetia? But whatever.
Yeah. Sweet Pea tells Anraj basically like the clouds are forming. We need to get out, kind of thing. And she's like, I need to tell somebody. And she tells Robert. And Robert comes in.
What else is new?
His only line in the episode.
So he mumbles stuff on his way out of the room. Like that walk,
bruh.
He just saunters out of the room for no reason. No, that's crazy.
I have a question about that walk, because is it just Robert stroke Harry Lottie being comical?
Or is he high? Is Robert high?
No, I don't think he's high, but is it just like he's done? He's fed up. Because it's like, what else is new?
I think he's fed up. I think he's fed up.
Are you kidding me? Look what they just tried to do to him in episode 5.
Yeah, so I don't think it's just, this is a joke. As like, he's just like, whatever, I'm just going to tap out. Like, I'm going to tap out at 5 p.m. Like, what else is new? I should have written that way, because I've written what he said after, but it was essentially to the line of... It was essentially to the effect of, like, I don't care. Like, just do my work for 8 hours and leave kind of situation. Okay, we are running out of time. We're really running long, which I expected, obviously. But let's go into Eric and Yasmin.
Oh, boy.
I'll give a rundown and then we jump in. So this starts with Eric basically saying that he has a cure for Yasmin's hangover, a blue steak, and a handful of blood thinners.
A cure for his own hangover.
He's just like, he was just drunk the whole episode, which is incredible.
The moment he says my treat, night out, which is great for me.
Yeah. The moment he says my treat, guys, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh, he's doing this. He's like, he's going to full court press right now. Like, he's
I know you've been afraid of this. You've been specifically afraid of this.
A shame.
I saw that. I was just like, man, don't do this. Like, you still have a tiny bit of dignity left. Don't do this.
Yeah, you're hanging onto my thread. There's a sliver.
He lost everything in the next hour because his midlife crisis is crisising. And then we go to the lunch. And the first thing I noticed during this lunch was their postures. Yasmin is sat up straight throughout the entire lunch.
And he's just
leaning
like
in.
this.
It's almost like he's begging, waiting for scraps throughout the whole thing. Like, I was like, this is incredible directing, this incredible staging. It was like, Yasmin, she isn't a bitch when she's asking about his kids. But apart from that, like, Eric is basically waiting at her every word. I was like, oh, this is so funny. But what do you guys think makes Yasmin snap?
Two things. She's been kind of warding off advances or trying to make sure it's kind of thing where like somebody's making advances and you don't want the advances to even start to advance. So you start to like throw tax like in their way just to make sure that they don't even get close.
So
and then she's warding all of those. Yeah. She's like, let's not get to a point where this can become a problem. And then she gets a call from her lawyer who does not like Eric very much. Right? Like she's tired of Eric. And then she says, stay away from that vampire. So like all that stuff that she's been warding off, plus the words from like, little Miss Lawyer lady who thinks Eric is an old man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She's just like, yeah, you're not going to get me next. Like you are actually disgusting. So she just decides to snap. And then her dad, the whole thing with her dad too. And she's just like, what do you want from me? I don't know.
Vampire is insane. And sadly, I think I only got the full meaning on my third watch. Because by the way, I've watched episode 3 times. Because obviously, I should have got it the first time I ever watched it. It was like the fact that like Eric is an old man stealing blood from the young people to keep himself young. And I was just like, that's just like...
Vampire is... Yeah, you're right. Vampire is actually quite apt because of that. I mean, Rishi says something along the lines of, you do this weird thing where nobody knows where they stand with you. And it's just a problem.
I mean, DVD said it last season as well. You mentioned that about how he likes the young people until they're ready to come for his job, essentially.
So everybody knows Eric's MO, except Eric, apparently. So, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And then it cut... Okay, guys, well, before we go to the bathroom, how many scenes, how many great scenes do you need to make an episode of television great? Because I was watching this episode and I was like, great scene after great scene after great scene. I was like, what kind of role is this? What kind of role are you guys on? Because he cuts to the bathroom and I was ready to burn everything to the ground when I saw what he was doing in the bathroom. I was like, I am done. Can we stop this?
Do you think he has a humiliation kink? That's the only...
I considered that. I actually did consider that. I can't lie. It's one of two things. It's either that or like while he was still hot for her, he just wanted to get something out of this. Like he's like, I'm leaving here with something.
Mine was to get the poison out. So I was just like, you know what, this is like, I just need to clear my head.
And it's like, I'm done with you.
Yeah, I don't like to ascribe kinks based on one interaction. But you could be right. It could be a humiliation. But to me, it was just like, you know what, this is just the end. Let me actually end this by finishing.
He could have done it. Why do you need to do it then?
I mean, like, I think that just kind of makes it the whole desperate thing. It's funny because for anyone who listened to Mickey Down and Conrad K interview from last week.
Well done.
They talked.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mickey mentioned about how they were very hesitant to sexualize Eric because Ken Long is an actor of a certain age with the respect obviously and everything. But after season 2 and then he kissed that woman, they were like, oh, okay. Because that was Ken Long's decision to kiss the woman. They were like, okay, maybe the door is a bit open here. So we're going to have him have his ring sucked off his finger. And we're gonna have him shirtless because he's going to be sleeping with Denise. And then this guy's literally, they went from him having him shirtless to having him
looking at his sperm on the wall.
Yeah. I was like, it's like, yeah, we shouldn't sexualize Eric. And then they go from that to how sexual can we make this without people turning their screens off?
There are steps. You can't just jump because
that was 0 to 1,000 real quick.
Ken Long would be like, oh, what the fuck? Why did I give these guys the option? Like, it's just like there are steps we could have taken before getting here. But yeah, now let's go to Yasmin being by her job because Petra and Harper meet a bunch of different salespeople. We only see one meeting, but even that guy there is like, what are you guys doing? Can you guys be honest with me?
Like, tell us the truth.
And then obviously his older, I don't know if his older boss is being winningly dense or he just doesn't understand what they're doing. But then they make a meeting through Yasmin, even though Harper was rejecting it, for Pierpoint. And then the Pierpoint guy's like, be serious here. Because again, these are good salespeople. They're like, Please be serious. Like, don't
have
lie
the
to me. What do
tiniest
you
bit of intellectual curiosity.
Yeah,
The
because you
tiniest.
realize their story. The story, I get you.
doesn't
Like
make sense.
we've outlined their plan, but their story does not add up. Like anybody who's paying attention to the words coming out of their mouths will be like, this doesn't make sense. Like there is no reason why you would want to do this because you're presenting yourself as dumb. And I know you're not dumb. The guy even says as much. When Yasmin tells Eric what they're doing, he's like, that doesn't make any sense.
It takes Eric 3 words. Eric hears 3 words and it's like, that's wrong. Like Eric is like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. Why are they meeting with PWM? Like it doesn't take him a minute. He's like 3 words and he's like, that's wrong. What are you talking about? Which is funny because I realized this. Yasmin invites Eric to the meeting.
Yes.
If Eric's at the meeting, this does not happen.
He could have stopped this.
His midlife crisis is making him so bad at his job.
So bad.
Which was the one thing he had going for him.
Yeah, because you're right. Because if he didn't have a crush on Yasmin or whatever, he would have been at that meeting because he doesn't trust Harper. He would have been there.
Yeah, 100%.
He would have fired her.
Tells Yasmin, "Oh, sweet." True. You're right. Actually, from the beginning. If Eric tells Yasmin during lunch, oh, Sweet Pea was on something, which I guess maybe he doesn't want to do because he's working on something with Adler. But if he tells Yasmin that, maybe Yasmin's a little more hesitant in giving the list to Harper. But like in those two instances, he doesn't do the thing that would eventually save his company, which was, I was like, oh, that's so funny. Because if it's at that meeting, he shuts that thing down in 2 seconds. Yeah, Harper doesn't bring it up because she knows Eric's going to sniff it out.
Eric was, yeah.
And they end up going with like, was it City that had 10 or something? One of the other banks that had like 9 or 10 instead of going with Pierpoint. And I was just like, yeah, Eric, this is all on you. Let's not even... But
I guess the thing is with the other banks, like I think there was one that had 20 something.
Yeah.
The rest of them are not as exposed as Pierpoint, first of all.
Yeah, I think it was 7, 9, and 20 or something like that.
Yeah. Pierpoint is way over leveraged.
And then the second thing is they're probably also making money in other ways. Like they aren't as levered up.
Pierpoint is all focused on.
Yes.
Pierpoint is the only person, like they're probably the only bank that's in this situation right now.
Because Daria asked, are they liquid elsewhere? And they're like, nah, this is all they have. This is all
because for the past few quarters, they've just been like, oh, ESG, come to us, we'll help you. Yeah. And like, that's just all this is a complete pivot. And like you guys pointed out, somebody actually mentioned this at the end of season 2 in one of those meetings. Like, oh, so like, what are we thinking about ESG for like the next? And it just, it like we come to season 3 and that's what they're doing. I just didn't expect that would be the only thing they're doing because, like Ayo just said, right? It's not a bad strategy, but it becomes a terrible strategy when you're doing it in one sector. Like everything in one sector, you're a bank, not a hedge fund. And even if you were a hedge fund, you know what? Let me not start. It's fine.
I have one question about the list then, because should Harper and Petra be allowed to use that list? Because like,
yes, like actually.
Hasn't Yasmin and PW, haven't they given to them on like the pretense of confidentiality? Like you're doing it for one thing, you can't use it for something else.
I mean, they're doing
you can't control what they do with information. That's why you have to be careful who you give information.
Exactly. And
this
it's
is high level
just
finance.
A list of the companies that they are like invested in. It's not that like it's
they're aware of it, so
like
they can just pretty much.
No one will have the
kind
full
of thing
story the way they now do. But the only reason they have
it's just
that
the last piece of the
because they gave them it's basically a menu for them to buy like bad, like to invest in bad shares.
And then Eric shouts a fucking list, which is the moment I did the sitting forward meme. Like I only caught myself like 10 minutes later. I was like, oh, I'm actually sat forward. Like I did the meme and I was there towards the end of the episode. Like from that point to then, I was just sat forward.
Okay, because that's where you realize, oh my God.
I was like, oh, I have not moved. What did you say? Yeah?
So my notes for that was like, he's finally awake. He's been sleepwalking throughout the whole episode. When he's trying to bullshit Rishi, he's trying to sleep with Yasmin. He's coming on walls. He's not going
which
for
is a
meetings.
bit insane. Because he knows how bad the situation is. So why is he sleepwalking? Like he just had the meeting with Adler. He should be on high alert. Why is he doing this?
I don't know for this guy, to be honest.
He's having a midlife crisis. He's drunk.
Oh man! And again, it's because
like
what gets me is that it was Sweet Pea's exact words, a fucking list that Eric screams out. Oh my god!
Because the funny thing is, even if Yasmin had just taken Sweet Pea to that meeting, Sweet Pea would have been like, it's just so funny. Like, it's, you know what? So many ways to lose because it's a comedy.
This is what I was saying. This is what I was saying. It's a masterclass.
Have to. Yasmin could have taken Sweet Pea to that meeting and be like, Sweet Pea, like, you can take it Anna, right? Obviously, not reason to take Anna. But take it Anna, I don't know, like, let's take a step back. Let's reconvene.
You would have asked a question. You were like, this trade
Sweet
makes
Pea
no
might
sense.
even have been more of an asset in that meeting than Eric, because Sweet Pea has an animus now.
Like, and she knows she's correct.
She knows what they are trying to do, because like they tried to get her in on it.
Yeah. Anyway, this sends Eric to talk to Harper, because this is now
talk?
The first.
Is that
time
the word we're using for it? Talk.
Let's use talk. Let's use talk for now.
Okay.
And Eric and Harper have had 3 meetings up to this point. The first time was wordless. The second time was basically Harper shitting on him, and then this third time is now like both people are going blues for blues.
He said he got daddy's attention.
I was like,
said, okay, you've got daddy's attention now. I wish he had come in there with his baseball bat, man. Fuck.
No, literally.
If that guy is now.
The receptionist would have called. The receptionist would have called the cops.
And then Harper's blackness jumps out in some of her line readings. The way her head was moving. Yeah, okay. I mean, do you try to read out the quotes first, or do we just want to talk about that scene and then I'll touch on some? Because I wrote down some. I was like, this is incredible what these people are saying.
I think we have to go from the quotes.
Give us the quotes.
Eric starts and says something like, I don't know what your plan is, blah, 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 but it's basically on the lines of causing the most harm to as many people as you physically can.
Shout
Everyone
out
is
to Mike
collateral. Even the only girl stupid enough to call you a friend. Like, him calling her a girl, I was like, oh, okay. And then Harper, the blackness, is like, everything you do on the floor communicates an ideology that people are a means to an end. I enact your philosophy, and you have the nerve to come into my office and call me a bad person. Go fuck yourself. I like this because we talked about this in episode 3, not 2.
He created her.
Yes, but we also said like, as Eric always had these ethical dilemmas and whatever, he might have, but he never communicated that to his underlings. It was always do whatever you can to win.
Yes.
Right. So even though he might have had these kind of hold-ups or whatever, they never knew that.
He never taught them to have hold-ups. And now he's shocked that she doesn't have hold-ups. Bro, the ball was in your court so many ways.
So, and she's like, I did what you told me to do, and you fired me for it.
Do you think that it's... Because I feel like Harper is learning all the wrong lessons. Like, she's learned the wrong lessons from Eric. But she's also 100%. Currently learning the same, not the same, but also bad lessons from Petra.
Is it selective blindness? I don't know.
Petra says friendship and contempt are just 2 sides of the same coin. That is an incredibly horrific thing to say to someone that says, "Oh, please, that was leave my friend alone." And she's like, "What do you mean? Like you could hate her tomorrow," which
But let's make money now.
It doesn't take a day. It doesn't take a day. But like, I feel like Harper tried in this episode in a way that I wasn't expecting her to. Right?
Yes.
But at every time,
and we think that trying is genuine, right? We think that trying is genuine.
I think it's genuine.
I mean, she's still a human being. She's just a very.
I think she tries at a lot of junctures in this episode. But then,
increasingly deplorable one.
What's her name? Petra just keeps going. Petra. What do you mean?
But it's also not Petra's friend. That's the thing. I think they are all terrible people.
Petra doesn't understand what it means to like have a friend. She's like, you are that is your ex-colleague. Like, I am your colleague. That is your ex-colleague. She doesn't understand what that means.
So you're saying, because think about how she talks to Anna and about Anna.
Like, exactly.
It's the same thing. She's like, Anna, we're not friends, we're colleagues. Like, Petra does not want to have friends, and she's essentially creating a situation. Like, even earlier in the episode, right? Harper is trying to be vulnerable with her, get her to be vulnerable too, because despite everything that went on with Eric, like, Harper and Eric did have vulnerability. They could confide in each other.
They could.
Like, despite everything that's wrong with Harper, she needs that. Like, there's a part of her that needs that in order to function. So, like, there's something to fall back on. But with Petra, there's just, like, the cold wall of work.
There's
no vulnerability.
I would talk about that. I want to mention when we talk about Harper and Yasmin. But so, do you guys think that, so you guys saying that if this was Petra's friend, she would do the same? Or would she just never work with her friend?
Petra doesn't have friends.
She doesn't have friends at all. Like, she's a sociopath.
I'm not that she's
a bit of both.
But like she okay, maybe we'll put it that way. She wouldn't work with someone that's her friend, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, if I think it can never be personal.
Yeah. Like, Petra is more likely to kind of remove herself from a situation. She'll figure out a way to still make money from whatever the friend is suggesting, but she's not going to want to work with her friend.
I'll even take it the other way. I think once you start working with Petra, you are no longer her friend.
You're no longer her friend. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
So she might not be like this in her personal life.
Yeah.
It's not like she's backstabbing women when they're organizing a barbecue. Like, it's
maybe
just
not.
When it comes to work.
But obviously she has connections, right? Like, we hear about her son and what's going on with him. And I actually have a theory that she's probably blames herself for it. Because I think she wants, because Petra is everything we're saying, right? But at the same time, I think there's a part of her that somewhat wishes she could connect. Like, I mean, she has that exchange with Harper, I think in episode 3, right? Where she says, you think you're not a people person. You just hadn't found your people yet.
Met your people.
And, Harper felt that was her, like her people, but apparently not. And that hurts her.
Okay. Yes. Where were we? Because you're right. Okay. So then Eric drops the hammer on Harper. And I love that Ken Long delivers this so quietly. He's like, listen, I'm not going to shout. Listen to me. He says, I'm guessing that you live with the feeling that you're a monster. And now there is nothing stopping you on your path to whatever behavior provides you with an externalized fantasy of what you really think of yourself. I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that what you think about yourself is true. And Harper might act like she's Teflon, but that shit went in. Like, you can see how
she really felt that one. She was definitely shaken. And you're right, he whispered it. Like, they even showed Petra having to lean in at the door to hear what he was saying.
And the receptionist.
Yeah. My goodness, what a line.
Can I come on training desk talk about the receptionist? Just 30 minutes on the receptionist.
30 minutes on the receptionist. Is this
about
to be Kate Winslet again?
I know what you're talking about, Becky.
I can do it.
Yeah,
okay.
do it.
Okay.
Do it for me.
All right.
I can't do it.
Because I can do it. Trust me. You can't do it. Because of
I'm
your
not allowed
bleep. But yeah, and I think, like, obviously
Harper follows that up with that line about his family, though, which is, I think
she gets the final word in.
Where she becomes evil. This is where she makes the switch from someone whose back is against the wall to just pure evil. She's like, I heard you lost your family. That's somehow.
And he can't even do anything. I mean, because that's all she has left. Like, this whole thing it just devolves into ad hominem, because now what's left to lose? Because she wants to still feel strong and at least seem strong in that moment. She can't just let this guy go. But at the same time, it's just like she's clearly like really shaken up, because he got to the heart of it. And the way that sentence he said was structured, my God, like every time you listen to it again, you understand just how deep the hatred is. And it makes me wonder, honestly, when did he start to detest Harper this much? Because I know we've had all kinds of discussions about why he fired her and how she would have felt about it, right? How he would have felt about it. But I genuinely just thought it was like, yeah, we can't be involved with her or whatever, or at least I can't be involved with her. Let me cut her loose. But somewhere along the line, it turned, like before episode 3, like it just turned into pure unadulterated like vim.
This
like
episode
fire.
Makes me think two things. One, I think the reason the time it really calcified was episode 3 at the conference, like her coming up. But I also now think that the moment he knew he was gonna fire her was when she threw Rishi and DVD under the bus.
And DVD under the bus,
finale. Because it seems like his main thing is that she's a terrible person, even for him. it seemed to be that's the main thing that is like, it's not about, oh, I'm worried on my back or I'm trying to save your soul. It's like,
she's dangerous.
A monster.
There's no loyalty. Like, she will kill anyone.
Yeah, and I think it's that DVD and Rishi it was like, oh, okay. That's what we're dealing with. And then I think literally, had talking in the conference, basically throwing him, Anna,
everyone. She threw everyone on the bus. Like, let's be real about that.
Everyone under the bus is like, oh yeah,
the people she lives with were literally standing behind that stage and thinking, why is it you? Like, why is it you right now?
I love these two conversations, this one and the one about talking about Harper and Yasmin, because everybody's wrong and everybody's correct.
Yes.
Nobody wins. Exactly. Nobody wins either conversation.
So many ways to lose.
I mean, let me call his name again. Joseph Charlton. Well done. Your pen on this episode was incredible. Because let's move to Harper and Yasmin. Eric goes back to the office, sees that the stock price is dropping, as we've already discussed, and then he sees an email from Adla, in which Adla is like, a big client sent me this thingy. Why is she still working for us? It's funny because the first time I read that, I read it as, could this work for us or something like that? So when Eric called her, I thought he was calling her to be sympathetic, like, oh, I've just seen your father's pictures. Today must have been a tough day for you, kind of thing. I'm sorry for shouting. And then he fires her. That took me by surprise. I was like, oh, that's not what I thought this competition was going. But yeah, Eric fires her, and he basically tells her, look, your friend fucked you. Like, your friend took you for a fool, which lights a fire under Yasmin's ass, and then she goes home, and then Harper
destroys the camera.
Well, that guy had it coming. That's insane. That guy was like,
he had it coming, like,
right
in her face.
Like, bro, that's insane. Man.
That would be the only perk of being famous.
You can just break cameras.
Yeah. Beating up paparazzi.
Okay. I don't know if that's a perk
for famous people.
Who's ever gone to jail for being up paparazzi?
That's fair. Okay, before we talk about Yasmin and Harper, I want to read a quote from Conrad in one of the interviews that they did. It says, I think the show is quite interested in identity. I mean, this is very obvious. What people are like at work versus what they are like at home. And due to that sort of disconnect, you have people like Harper and Yasmin, and you wonder, how is that friendship even possible? Because they truly know each other. And as the season goes on, I think you can probably make the case that they do actually know each other very intimately. And that's part of the pain of them not being able to connect. Which is in line with something Yasmin says later, which is like, I thought that I could know the worst thing about you, and you could know the worst thing about me, and we could still be friends.
I say we could be. This scene still love each other, which is so
still love each other. Sorry, yeah, still love each other.
And hate you have to understand, passion swings both ways.
What did Diana say in episode 4 to Rishi? When you were mean together. Just take me along.
Oh God.
So this scene starts, and Yasmin is like, "Why did you help me on the boat?" And Harper says it was the human thing to do. Which is exactly what a non-human would say. A non-human trying to act like they're human.
Is that fair?
I don't think that's fair.
Who responds like that? I'm sorry, I would have like, I loved you, you were in distress, I would do anything for you. To say it was the human thing to do, I'm sorry, it feels like you just learned words by watching movies.
I get where you're coming from. Like, saying it was a human thing to do essentially is pointing out, what else was I supposed to do? Like, there was no better option. It was the right thing to do.
No, because it's not the right thing to do. It's not.
No, as in the right thing to do to feel normal. Or like, I'm just like, is it the human? Anyway, but whatever. That was just the beginning. And obviously, I was telling you.
It shows like she doesn't care. Like, it shows like, saying it's the human thing to do is almost as though like I wasn't particularly invested in this. It's just, how do I put this? It's like, it was a human thing to do is what you would say about like, oh, like somebody's cat climbed a tree and like the little girl is crying and like I just got it down. Like I do not care, but like
I'm not doing it. I didn't do it because of you. I did it because of the thing. Like if it was somebody else, I might have still done the same thing. But if you said, oh, because I love you, or because you were in distress, and you make up,
it's an excellent choice of words for them to write for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was telling you, this scene is incredible because I timed it on rewatch. It was about 6-7 minutes. Because every time I think it's going to stop, it doesn't stop. It just keeps on going.
Oh my God.
Keeps on going. And then one thing that, Harper says to Yasmin, sorry the world is showing you what it is without any of the protections they're used to. And then Yasmin replies that something, I want friends or whatever. And then Harper continues, you do not want friends. You want people to make the hierarchy of your world make sense.
Makes sense. Mm.
Yasmin goes in with, do you have any capacity to see beyond the projections of your insecurities? Because the most appalling things you think of yourself are not how I see you. Which is probably the most...
That's the nicest thing she could have said.
It's downright loving. It's a loving thing to say.
Thing. And then
that's basically I love you. That's what that was. That was I love you.
Actually, I
love you and it hurts.
Yeah, as I go through these quotes, I want us to point what we think is not objectively, that's the wrong word, but it's true about the person that is being said about, to our understanding.
Okay,
because
sure, I'll play.
I think a lot of these things are just yes. And then Harper replies, does it appall you that I've managed to make it on my own? Do we think that's true?
I don't think that's true.
That Harper made it on her own?
No, that Yasmin is angry that Harper made it. I think that's Harper projecting.
That is Harper projecting.
I do think that is Harper projecting. I'm not sure that Yasmin... I don't think... How do I put it? Yasmin is rich enough to be inherently generous yet apathetic enough that she's not threatened by Harper in this way. Do you understand?
Doesn't care if people make
she
it on
actually
their
would
own.
be happy for Harper and I think on some level, I don't know if Yasmin actually sees it completely as Harper having made it on her own. Yasmin is, as Eric says, solipsistic enough to think that she made it where she is on her own. And she probably thinks that's if she has a superiority complex at all, that would be where it is. That, she's essentially better at what she does than Harper, which is complete delusion.
Well,
and at the same time, it's she wouldn't necessarily be appalled at that because, assuming it was true, because I think she kind of was rooting for Harper because that's the one person that is rooting for her.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, so I know I said that nobody really wins either argument, but the way this is, I think the first half of this conversation is really kind of Yasmin saying the truth about Harper. And then obviously later Harper gets...
As if she didn't hear enough from Eric.
Yes. Oh God. Let's get back to that because these two scenes back to back for Harper, I'm afraid of what's going to come next.
No, truly though.
No. But let's finish this quote because, let's talk about that because, anyway. So then Yasmin goes, you are, to Harper, obviously, you are hardwired to exploit people's vulnerabilities and all the mental gymnastics of whatever genetic blame game or how you were brought up or oh my God, my brother
blame game.
My brother's an
my brother.
God.
Oh my God, my brother is an addict. Shit that you choose to spin does not absolve you of how you choose to act now. I have 2 points on this. One, I think 100% perfect for Harper, but I also think it's rich coming from Yasmin.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
But just because someone is doing something doesn't mean they can't call someone out for doing it.
Fair. I was like,
we have a term for that. It's called hypocrisy.
I was like, Yasmin, should we get the mirror? Because just because your father fucked you up does not mean you get to do the things you do. And I was like, oh God, this conversation is so good.
It's the lack of self-awareness. That's the point here. Yasmin is literally not fully formed enough to be self-aware. She is delusional. That's her problem. That's Yasmin's biggest issue. She's too delusional to help herself.
Embryonic.
I'm sorry. I know I just attacked Yasmin's self-realization, but I'm sorry. Yasmin.
Yaz's response to Harper saying, "Oh, you just hate on me because I'm making it on my own," was, "Oh my God, you're mental."
The line reading.
Also, I think the camera is on Harper's face at that point because it hits Harper.
Because the reaction is more important. Yeah, it's more important for the story to us anyway.
Because this scene more so than even the Eric scene, reminded me so much of her scene with her brother last season.
Yeah.
Like, it's really just telling her, because I've seen with her brother, which again,
telling her what she is. That's what that was.
Things that she, like, Eric is like, I know you're a monster. Or rather, I know you think you're a monster. But
let me tell you, you are.
Yasmin are like, this is why you think you're a monster. And Harper is like, shit, that is why I think I'm a monster. Like, how did you guys know? This is scary. And then and then Harper says to Yasmin, everyone deserves better than the way you treat them. Basically, Rob, he talks about how Rob deserves better than you treat him.
I have thoughts on that one, yeah.
And that is true. 100% true. Harper, this is when Harper was eating Yasmin, because Yasmin, as we mentioned, Yasmin treats people terribly and everything. And then she says, you think if I wasn't around, Rob would want to be with you? He thinks you're deranged.
You're deranged.
Being in, oh God, she ate here with no crumbs. Being a narcissist with an inferiority complex doesn't make you an underdog. It makes you absolutely fucking nauseating.
Bro.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
I heard that and was just like, my God.
So
not Robert being used as a weapon here. Saying, like, she's just saying the quiet part out loud with that.
Yeah. So on the scorecard, the truth is that Yasmin is winning this fight on the scorecard. I just feel like Harper's last blow is a bit of a knockout blow.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, so you're essentially saying Harper. You're essentially saying Harper won, but Yasmin fought better.
No. I think
it's a draw.
Yeah, I think Yasmin had more hits, but Harper had stronger hits.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
I'll take that.
Because then Yasmin says her father was a narcissist, and Harper is like, I'm sure you fed into that. The same way you feed into what he and every other man like him wants you to be, a fucking.
And she says the word
and a victim, which you conveniently bounce between whenever it suits you.
That's what I said.
We haven't got there yet. We haven't got there yet.
Keep going. Keep it coming.
It doesn't want to stop. And then this is when Yasmin says, I used to think that the worst thing I could think about you and the worst thing you could think about me could still be true, and we'll still love each other in spite of it. But I'm certain that's not the case. And then Harper comes, like father, like daughter, right? Your arrogance is just you overcompensating for the fact that you cannot be any more fucking ordinary. And guess what? The world can only hide that shit from you for so long, Yas. You are talentless and useless and a fucking whore. And that only hits so much because her father said it word for word.
Yeah. Word for word.
Yeah.
And just like, what do we do? Like, she had
There's
to slap at that point. There's no...
Yeah, there were no more words. That's if the slap... There was no other point where the slap could have come in and actually been impactful. That slap was a moment of desperation. It's like, I have nothing left, but I'm not letting you win this. Because how can you come for me like that? That was insane. She said talentless. She said whore. She said ordinary. She said useless.
Everything her father said. I know I'm going to be so annoyed when this episode drops, because I know Twitter is going to have like, oh, Harper won, or like, Harper hive back. And I'm going to be like, you guys are annoying me because I'm just like, this is, and I love the way the slap is played, because it's not like slap back, it's slap. Harper is like, hey, what? Shock. And then slaps her back.
Like,
and then
no, literally, like,
what?
Dare you slap me? Like when you talked about how Harper's blackness jumped out, like for me, this was that. The look on her face is like, excuse me?
And slaps her, and then Yasmin takes it in and then drinks wine, and I was like, oh, okay. We just like, red wine has played a big role this season,
especially for Yasmin. Yeah,
her dad Mock gave it to her on the bus.
My question, though, actually, after the thing ends and Harper walks away, does she leave the house or does she go upstairs?
I kept on waiting to see her go upstairs, but I think she has to go upstairs. Why was she leaving the house for? It's her house. She pays rent.
Yeah, exactly.
The day's there. You have to go and lie down.
You have to go. You have to go and lie down. Their face to be burning.
You know how? It would have been much funnier if like Harper went and brought out her own wine and they just started drinking in different parts of the just in silence.
Yeah, man. I love this episode. If it isn't clear, like, it's the only one I've watched at the point that people are listening to. The only one I've watched 4 times.
4 times, Banky.
4?
No, because
okay.
I've watched it 3 times. So I'm going to watch episode when it airs again because I watch with the rest of people, and I'm just like, yeah. So by then, before, I'm just like, I really like this episode, and I just think
it's the best acted episode of the show.
Probably. Yo, the vein when Yasmin and Harper are fighting, that vein on Marisabella's head.
I felt so bad for Marisabella. I was like, can we?
The vein
I was like, can we
my
chill?
own head. Like I was like, whoa, relax.
I was like, can someone call cut, please? I know you've already put this out, but can someone just call cut? This girl needs to rest. This woman needs to rest.
Wow.
Even when they're doing that conversation, and then Yas is going, and then Harper, after she's trying to defend herself at first and be like, "Oh no, you're my friend, I love you," and then when she switches, she actually like sits up and then crosses her legs.
Yeah,
and
she
does.
They cut to do one. She was like, "Oh, okay,
She's like, okay, let's get real. Let's get real then."
Your thing about best acted, I agree with you, because I think it's the most the show has ever had parents like go at it. Because we did talk about it, but that Petra Harper scene could have been in one of these scenes if we had more time. Mm-hmm. Because Petra is like, I don't ask you what pills you take to sleep. Like, that's not what we're doing here. That's like, and I think if the Sweet Pea Harper scene is a great scene because it's 2 people trying to, like, it's a tennis match. People are trying to, like, it's a lot of scenes of just like 2 people going at each other as opposed to like talking about finance or looking at a screen or whatever, which is probably why it's the best acted. I just, and like it's type of shit I like, right? I like seeing people just talking. Like that is a 7-page scene, that final scene. Like that, just Charlton was writing for 7 pages of just 2 characters going back and forth.
You get the full emotional range with scenes like this, and it's amazing because I mean, you already know I believe that character really ends up being at the heart of these things. That's what makes these stories matter. And this was an episode where, we got to see character shine. Like if episode 5 and episode 4 are like, this is what the story is about in terms of theme. Episode 6 is like, this is what the story is about in terms of character. Like these are the people that this world produces.
These are who they are.
That's amazing.
Right. Because I didn't even think we were going to have a whole discussion about Petra when I was making this outline. But look at how we just, based off like 3 scenes, we're like, this is who Petra is, and this is like the kind of sociopath she is.
She's also so bad at trying to pretend that she can like sell. I just remember that scene when she was like, "Oh, that song that Dolly Parton had was not about her boyfriend. It was about her investment portfolio." I was like, "Bro, you're so poor at this."
I was gonna be like, "Yeah, what was that? What did that mean?"
She's so poor.
Oh my god,
she's not a human being.
I did like when she was like, when she clapped, and she was like, "Thank you, Pierpoint, for people that are asking why we want to give you money," kind of thing.
That was really good. That was good.
And again, in another episode, we would have spent 15 minutes talking about anti-Pierpoint at Goldman, because all of Kenny.
I'm just waiting for the revelation that DVD works there too, by the way. I'm just saying.
What does Kenny say? Misery makes you weird bed companion or something like that. Like, I was like,
bedfellows.
Oh my god. I was like, this is Daria is loving life. Daria is like, I can't believe this is happening. Like,
she's living her best life. I just like that Kenny has to ask, like, you do realize what this will do, right? Not just to the companies, not just to Pierpoint, but like to the people at Pierpoint, like the people you live with, the people that like are still kind of in your circles. Just everyone you have ever known in this place will be devastated by this decision. Like, you don't have to do this.
He's even saying like, yo, okay, like you can make some money if you short them,
but you don't have to push it this
size. You're going to kill the company. Do you know that?
But it's funny because everyone should go back and watch just that scene or just that section of that scene, because then Harper says, "Isn't it what they deserve?" or something like that.
Yes,
and then
she does say that.
It cuts to Kenny as the music becomes quite like villainous, and you're like, oh, they're all on the same. It's part of what I said about the music making you know what to feel. Like they're all on the same page here.
Look, I think everybody in that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, everybody just be like, I hope you know what we're doing. I'm on board. I just want you to be on board.
That wasn't Kenny trying to stop it. That was Kenny just saying, just to be clear, this is the devastation we're about to wreak on these people. Like, you know this, right? We good? Okay, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
Does everybody in that room, apart from Petra, want to kill Eric, metaphorically?
Yes. They all don't like
Eric.
Eric.
I mean, we don't know why
we don't know about
Jackie
left, I guess, but
I'm assuming she was fired, she didn't leave. So yeah, let's just go with Eric. Yeah.
How do you go around that? This is what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. Ops. How can your ops all gang up?
No, but that's the thing. Eric is not savvy in the sense that he doesn't seem to understand. Like, you would expect Eric to be the person who understands when he's making enemies and to mitigate that risk, but he's not. He's just completely.
I think he usually is. I think this has been a weird season for him.
But then he just acquired a pretty skirt that brightens his mornings, as Rishi said. That's what he called Yasmin.
But I also think
a cute skirt that brightens his mornings.
I think when you're at the top of when you're the king, you expect ops.
You do.
So like, he wasn't anticipating this downfall. Like, if you're the king and you have ops, and then you become a peasant and you have the same ops, it's like, oh, I cannot fight you again because I don't have the same arsenal. It's like, when I was the king, I had an army. Now I'm just a peasant and you're still coming for me. So like, it's like, for the fact that like his ops are assembling at the same time while his entire strength is lessening.
It's dwindling.
Insane. It's insane. So yeah, I'm just like Eric should not drink for like the next 3 months. Like, just
he can't.
I need to be clear-headed.
He needs to be awake. Because he was asleep for so long.
He was like, I need to be clear-headed. So I have some notes. One, like I was saying earlier, I'm afraid of what Harper is going to become. Because when her brother read her like that in episode 5 of season 2, she became Darth Vader. Like, remember the elevator when she's like, when she stops the DVD, she's at disgust with Eric for going to Pierpoint services. Mm-hmm. Now she has that conversation twice in this episode. And like, Harper is not someone that we want to see when she's emotionally, or obviously we want to see for good TV, but I mean in terms of like as a person, when she's emotionally pushed to the corner, because like everybody's saying that she's a terrible person. That only makes her more of a terrible. I'm just like, what is going to happen? Going to be next episode?
That's actually interesting because I don't know if she has any more moves. She's done a big one.
Well, I mean, we know there are 2 more episodes of the show, so
yeah.
So there has to be something. I guess
there'll be more things to happen, but like, I don't like right now. Anyways, I can't see. Oh, where are you going to? Because this is her shot. This is the kill shot.
Yeah,
she's taking it. There's not much more. Like, you can't.
I'm sure they will try. They will try to fight back now. So I guess it's how they fight back. You obviously have to retaliate their fight back.
Yeah. There's not much more you can do after you take out $500 million shot on a company, man. You can't really go bigger than that.
Taking a shot that size is only like that's just equals spite. That's not strategy. A shot that 100%. Size can only be spite. So
it's not greed. Yeah. It's not about making money. It's about
just I want to destroy you.
Yeah. Because you can make 800 million, you can make money. It's like, well, no. I want to destroy you while making the money. So that's a whole different thing. And Petra knows that. Petra is weaponizing Harper's hate here. Yes. Even though she started to keep it by the door. Petra is 100% weaponizing Harper's hate here, 100%. So in the in the premiere of this season, I was talking about how I didn't really like the boats thing because it kind of let Yasmin off the hook for being a terrible person. And I think that was obviously in the premiere, so 6 weeks ago. This episode or that conversation kind of gave me what I wanted. Because I never really wanted any big things. It's not like I wanted her to die or whatever. I just wanted her to, like, a mirror to be held up to her. Because her dad did it, but it was different. Because her dad was a rapist and a groomer. Right? And then she went back to him. So I was like, this doesn't really work. And an embezzler. But this is what I wanted. I wanted, like, the show and the world to, like, tell these things to Yasmin. Which is, like I said, it's a draw, right? Like, I wanted to say, Yasmin, you are talentless. You are not special. You facilitate between victim and sex object. Like, these are the things about you. And I want her to, like, digest that as much as people on this show digest anything. And I was like, oh, this was what I wanted. This was the due.
Do you think she's actually going to digest it, or will she go the way of Rishi and the Punani 1 episode later?
I think she might digest it, but I doesn't mean she changes.
Okay, fair.
I think Robert's the person that can change this show. We haven't even seen him change like that, so I don't even know.
Fair. That's actually fair. Robert is the only person that's capable of change. And Sweet Pea. Oh my God.
What's
I saw a very
from?
very funny tweet about Sweet Pea. They were like, how can you be working in a top bank and also doing OnlyFans? This is the greed they spoke about in the Bible.
Also, she's not, I don't think Sweet Pea is even middle class. If she's like maybe upper middle, I'm sorry, you don't come with a name like Sweet Pea Golightly if your parents don't have like slavery money. So like
your friend isn't named Trico.
Yeah. So she might be doing this for the love of the game. Like, she's not doing this for money. She's doing it just for the love of the game.
Literally.
Shout out
because again, she's competent. Like Sweet Pea is like if Yasmin was competent. Because the privilege. I remember like when her dad told her right at the end of the season, like, how do you think you got to this desk at a job with your what do you say with your mediocre grade,
average grades from an average university,
to a desk you didn't apply for?
Which uni did she go to?
They never mentioned. Just an average one, not one of the Russell Group ones. As a joke, a few weeks old for anyone who's been on the timeline. Okay, I'm going to wrap up now, but I have this note, and let's just talk about it before we wrap up. I said I think Harper will be this goes to what we're saying about Petra actually. I think Harper will be a good friend if you didn't work with her, but I'm not sure Yasmin can ever be a good friend.
Tell us why.
What?
I think if there's no need for Harper to betray you, i.e. working with you, I think she at least knows what is needed to be a good friend. Like, I think if you guys were just like chilling, she helps you pack, like you guys go out, you guys go on holiday, like she would be a good friend. I don't see Yasmin.
Use the obvious foil there. Do you think Harper is a good friend to Rob?
I think that's complicated because Harper
they work
definitely
together.
Harper actually, I think, really likes Rob, to be honest.
Yeah, she does.
Like, I mean, even
I did not know Harper still liked Rob until this episode.
I definitely, look at her useless boyfriend. He's like Shaggy Rob without brains. Like, come on, like even Robert is looking at even Robert is looking at this guy like, what the heck? It's basically sad. I mean, from the point where she tells Yasmin Robert is a whole snack in season 1. And remember when she was having an intimate moment with Rob, right? And Yasmin happens to be there, and she just wants Yasmin to leave, but Yasmin is like, "Nah, I can't let you have this," because like she just wants to dominate. And like I don't think Harper has forgiven her for that, even though she's kind of tried. I believe Harper has tried to forgive her for that, but she just can't, because it's like, why are you so hell bent on making me feel inferior? I think Harper kind of feels that in a way. I think she wants to love Yasmin, and she's trying to love Yasmin, but those insecurities don't just go away like that. So for Yasmin to say that Robert finds her deranged, that's one of the biggest blows in that conversation, as far as I'm concerned.
That was...
So you don't think it's an analogy because Rob is a romantic interest for Harper? Or because I think for both of them, like for Rob and Yasmin, Harper's worked with both of them.
Yeah.
And lives and is friends, quote unquote, with both of them. And
but she doesn't work with him.
I feel like Harper is an actual good friend-ish to Rob in a way that Yasmin
Harper is somebody,
hasn't been.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had more one-on-one interactions.
So I'm agreeing with you, Bankole. I think
season 1, Harper was definitely a good friend to Rob.
Yeah.
Yes.
In season 1.
I agree with you. At him. I don't think Yasmin can be a good friend.
I
think Yasmin doesn't know how to have relationships that aren't transactional in some way.
Exactly.
Like she just has to exploit something, which is sad, right? Like she accuses Harper of needless exploitation of people's like weaknesses and stuff like that. But Yasmin, like they literally only have relationships with people they can get stuff out of. Like they don't know how to kind of be on the bottom foot and like actually be vulnerable with people, even when they're being vulnerable. Like at least Yasmin anyway, even when she's being vulnerable, she just wants things that she wants to believe about herself to be affirmed.
It's funny though that you say that, but then I think so far this season, up until this episode, Harper has been the one exploiting her relationship with Yasmin.
Yes, she has been, but I don't. That's what I'm saying. It's complicated, like because
but it's
they don't work
really
together. They don't work together.
I mean, let me just start. My point was that if you don't work with Harper, she can be a good friend. I think once you work with her, it changes everything.
I think that's true.
Even the exploiting thing, I don't think she, apart from this particular episode. Okay, and when Petra is like, who is amenable? And she says, yes.
But then also when she tries to get the intro to Autumn Austin via
yes, I was gonna say every other time she's quite transparent to what she wants. It's not backstabbing.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
It's like introduce me to Autumn Austin. Can you give me Petra's numbers? Like it's transactional, but it's like it's clear. It's not. There's
like help me, like
Okay, fair.
Yasmin is always get something in return. Always.
That's true.
Not the Autumn Austin one, but she got her business with the Petra trades and all that stuff.
That's something in return, no?
And it's all the same episode. So I mean, I feel like Yasmin will always find a way to want something, even in personal interactions. Like she's just so transactional. I don't think it's not a surprise that she thought Celeste was a sex worker the first time she met her. Like I just think everything about her is like give and take.
She just assumes.
I think Harper
that there's something to collect from everyone she meets.
Harper, I think Harper can be a good friend to you as long as if you're a lawyer, if you're working in a different industry. Like she's just like we can be good friends, and she might have a shorter fuse than most friends, but I can see her being a better. But Yasmin, I don't know how Yasmin can be a good friend. I think she can only exist in those kind of friendships where everybody's rich and everybody hates each other.
She wants to be a good friend, though. Like I think she wants to be better at this. She's just attempting it maybe with the wrong people, and she just needs somebody who's not in finance. I don't know.
My final question, and then we're gonna leave. If you're Robert, just upstairs in his room, hearing all of this,
oh boy,
do you stay in your room? Hey, I never stay in your room.
Yeah, I would, man. Like, finally, someone saying the truth.
Let me say this. I would come down. Yeah, that's savage, actually. But I would come out of my room.
Finally, yes, Harper, finally.
yeah.
Oh my god, I'll come out of my room and go downstairs if I didn't hear anybody come upstairs, because then I'd be like, did they kill each other? Like, are they both alive down there? like the scenario I talked about earlier, where like they're just drinking wine and like in separate, like they're separate parts of the room. Like it would be even funnier if Robert just came in and is like looking from the edge, like, yo, is everything okay?
That's all want me to rap. To ease the tension.
Lift the mood.
Yeah, it's funny. Like staying in his room, it definitely makes sense if he's in the house.
I'm
100%.
intrigued. I mean, this is the most, last week and this week now is the most this show has actually actively put the Robert and Yasmin thing in front of us since maybe season 1.
What about the end of season 2?
I didn't find that. I mean, when he goes to get the drugs for her, I didn't find that. I found more
the conversation they had beforehand, where it's like, that
was the beginning of season 2. It was in the hunt. It was in the Wales episode.
Yeah, I brought that up too.
Yeah,
you're right.
You're right. And I thought that was more of a like we're over with that kind of situation. That's the way I read it, because then they go.
I say like this should have been, but like I'm not there anymore. So exactly. Yeah, that's probably last time.
Also, last week she goes, "Why can't you just love me?" This week, Harper quite plainly says Robert is still like on you. It's not everything you do. So it's like, okay, I guess maybe that's something I'm going to obviously come up with by the next 2 episodes. It's like, actually Mock coming back. It's like,
Rob
I didn't
versus
know.
Mock.
Even Mock put up last week. It was like, I'm a jealous person or whatever. But like, yeah. So I guess that's something that's going to play a part in the end of the season. Anyway, great episode. Like, probably my best of the season, I guess. But
I think it's my favorite.
Every week, everybody, is it your favorite as well?
Yeah. So far, yeah.
I think it might be for me too. Yeah, I think it might be for me too. And it makes me just like it's one of those episodes that you're like, where do they go from here? Like, this is going to get better. You're just figuring out how. Like, if you think about what's coming,
I know where they're going next.
we know what's like.
I know where they're going next.
Magic 12 Angry Men.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look at the titles of the last two episodes just make me laugh. I'm just I mean,
the last episode is written and directed by Mickey and Conrad, so it's like,
I'm so hyped. You have no idea.
Which is why, like, every week everybody's like, this is the best episode. I'm like, I can't keep on saying this. I'm not going to say it.
You have to.
I'm sorry.
You have to. Because you have to say
this is this is the best iPhone we've ever made. He says every single year. Every single year. He's going to come on Monday and say it again. This is the best iPhone we've ever made.
If they continue on this trajectory,
I didn't know we're cutting out a Tim Cook agenda corner.
We really have to start a dialogue
about of all time. Are we entering there? No. It's best of the year. I've made that decision. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think it's the best thing on TV right now. But
no, as in that's okay.
Best episode of the year.
Best TV show of the year.
It's the best TV show of the year.
So far. I was saying this on my end of year pod. Like, I was like, first 2, 3. I was like, I don't want to make it jump because I love the show. Let's allow Shogun was great, whatever. I'm like, Shogun, I'm sorry, you have to jump to second. And not to be a Twitter conversation on this, but that's because this is a show that we have 3 years worth of history with them. I genuinely think long running shows have a bigger edge over limited series, but that's a whole different conversation.
They do.
Go ahead, just do it because you have that connection with them. Okay, we have a lot of headlines. We're like 90 minutes.
Isn't that just one? Which other headlines did you have?
What did you have?
Anyone have any color on Chucky the Wap being binned? He dipped his head in a few instances. I was wondering whether his rap sheet finally caught up with him.
Like I heard that, I was just like, what?
Oh my god! But I also have that might not just be funny, but also play a part in the plot. Because Rishi continues that by saying, or he was fired for something to do with the wider fixed income division.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm surprised we all have that. And then earlier in the day, a woman says, are you going to make a trade or play with your balls all day? And I was like, I guess they haven't learned from the subreddit. I guess we just keep on saying these things.
My goodness.
Ebube, did you have the Chuck? Do you guys know what WAP means? Do you guys know that's a slur?
Yeah,
I didn't know. I had to open dictionary.
Yes.
What is it? What is it?
It's Italian Americans.
Oh wow! Oh, yeah. I shouldn't say that then.
We're just quoting the show.
Like if you watch Peaky Blinders, they said it a lot actually.
Oh yeah. It's just what they call it. We're just quoting the show. It's not onward. That was yours as well, right?
Yeah.
I forgot to write this down, but the Reddit comment after they showed the leaked photo, there's like this whole thread where one guy, I don't remember, one guy is like, I heard that he was partying with his...
Oh my God.
Yeah,
he
was partying with his daughter. Ew. And then somebody replies, what's the big deal? I party with my parents all the time.
I read all those comments and I was just like, these people you all need help.
Somebody replies, lol, are we just going to ignore the fact that this is a dead man's body? I think it's like man was burnt or something like that.
Yeah. And then said LOL.
And somebody was like, this chat is terrible. I would just write on them that I forgot. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I think those count as headlines, to be honest.
yeah, I think they do. Overseen. Okay, we're going to wrap up there. Final thoughts?
Can't wait for the rest of it.
7 and 8.
I'm going to watch 12 Angry Men now, and then I'm going to watch episode 7.
Infinite Largesse. I just can't. Like,
wait, what are you watching before 7 a.m.?
12 Angry Men.
Oh, okay. Fair, yeah. For anyone, I would suggest watching Margin Call first because it's newer. But if you have the time, also watch 12 Angry Men. I don't actually know 12 Angry Men. If you don't know, there's two. There's a 1950s one, 1991. Apparently, both are great, which is weird. That a remake and the original would both be great.
I've seen the original. It's actually riveting.
It's the 50s one that I'm going to watch.
Yeah. So basically, plot, it's entirely set in one place, and it's 12 jurors deliberating whether they should send a person to jail or not.
The bottle episode.
And basically, it's a bottle film. I think that was Kubrick's first film. Was it Stanley Kubrick's first film? Anyway, and then Margin Call, which we talked about. Please go watch Margin Call. If anything, it might make you understand this episode more. It's probably the best. It's definitely top 2 finance films, depending on where you fall on The Big Short. I was going to say it's the best finance film, but it's not The Big Short. But yeah, go watch that. And then just prepare for episode 7. Mickey and Conrad's directorial debuts. Okay. We're good to go, right?
Good to go.
Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. Sorry, Sidney Lumet. I don't know why I said Stanley Kubrick. Sidney Lumet, directorial debut. Kubrick doing Top Angry Man. That would have been funny.
He's a fake film, bro, guys. Stone him.
Yeah, I'm a fake film, bro.
Stone him. That's crazy.
Is that the punishment? Wow, I feel like that doesn't match the crime. Okay, thank you very much for listening, guys. Thank you, Ebube, for dropping in. Please listen to Ebube on the trading desk. As the preview upcoming industry episodes, Ayo and I will be back for episode 7 and episode 8. Those will be long episodes as well because the actual episodes are long. I think 7 is like 70 minutes and 8 might be like 80 thereabouts. So yeah, we're locked in. Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
And join us next week when we'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.